Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Stories of Hope call this evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name's Sony Boiteaux, and I'm your favorite veggie dealer with our sponsor, the Juice Plus Company. I partnered with them back in 2006, and I did that because I'm really passionate about health and wellness. I have worked in the medical industry for about 32 years, working alongside all kinds of physicians, from orthopedic and sports medicine physicians to internists and surgeons and emergency physicians, and of course, radiologists, because that has been where I really settled in, was in X-ray and MRI. So I'm an X-ray and MRI technologist. And I've also taught hundreds of students how to operate that equipment. And in my free time, I love to serve as a reviewer and an editor for peer-reviewed scientific journals. And I'm currently serving also as our past president for the International Professional Society. So if that wasn't enough, back in 2014, I became a certified health coach because I got really clear that, our health first and foremost is an inside job. And I've seen that over the years, the medical industry is a great way of supporting our health, but first and foremost, we are accountable for that. And so tonight you're going to hear a few stories that I have been hearing since 2006. They're just truly extraordinary. And so we created this event. Deborah Bradford, my buddy, and I created this monthly series to showcase those stories because they're so powerful and moving. And we're just thrilled to have everyone tuning in to hear these great stories tonight. So I want to get us started by giving everyone a quick overview of what Juice Plus is. You see the bottles and the capsules and all the ingredients behind me. But the Juice Plus Company is a $15 billion global health food company, and our products include our flagship Juice Plus Essentials line, and that's what we're going to focus on tonight. So the Juice Plus Essentials provides the nutrition of 30 different plants in our fruit, veggie, and berry blends, alongside of our broad spectrum omega blend. And that contains the oil from algae and 5 different plant oils. So pomegranate, for example, and sea buckthorn berry, just really amazing ingredients. And those deliver more than just omega-3s. We hear about omega-3s the most because that's what's been studied the most, but the reality is that we've actually got very broad spectrum omegas. There's omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. So our blend covers all of that. I want to bring us back, though, to our fruit, veggie, and berry blends and just share a little bit. The way that it works is that all of that produce, we take that, throw it in a giant grinder, like a giant high-speed blender, like a Vitamix, and then that gets ground down into a juice or a pulp. It includes everything. It includes the peel. So like if it's apples, the apple peel, if it's oranges, the orange peel. Now we don't have things like apple seeds or the peach pits because those, of course, are toxic. So those aren't included. But anything that is not toxic and is part of that plant will get thrown in there. And then that gets ground down into like a pulp or a juice, right? Juice Plus. And then that produce gets dried out at a real low temperature. And as it dries out, some of the fiber will come along with that, and so, as well as the salt and the sugar. So this is excellent for folks that have diabetes. Okay, so that leaves us with powdered produce that has highly concentrated nutrition. It's far more than just a vitamin, right? All of the vitamins, all of the minerals, and more importantly, all of the plant chemicals or phytonutrients and even active enzymes are present in those powders. So these powders then get put either into a capsule to make it real easy to swallow it down, or into a chewable. Some people don't want to do a capsule, no problem. Just throw it in your smoothie and it'll blend right up with that. Or you can mix it in a glass of water. Lots of different ways to do this. So I don't know how great that tastes when you mix it in a glass of water, but you could do it if you wanted to. All right. So the Juice Plus Essentials, again, way more than just a multivitamin. These little capsules and chewables were the origins of the term superfood. And they provide that huge variety of produce, things that you don't eat elsewhere, right? Things like prunes and beets and kale and spinach, berries, bilberries. Where do I even buy bilberries? I don't know where I could buy those. All right, elderberries. We're hearing about elderberries because how awesome they are for the immune system. Things like black currants. So again, not only are these things that most of us don't necessarily eat every day, but some of them we can't even get in the supermarkets. So I'm joined tonight by my co-moderator, Deborah Bradford, and our storytellers, Melody Loomis and Melissa Herrick. I'll get them pinned up, spotlighted here in a moment. A little bit of background on Deborah. She's been a Healthy Living affiliate with us since 2014, and she has a background as a parent educator. She also owns a professional organizing business, and she's 72 years young and takes no medications whatsoever. I'm so grateful to have her join us tonight. We're also, like I say, our storytellers featured tonight, Melody Loomis and Melissa Herrick. Melody's going to share a bit about her pregnancy, her postpartum issues, her journey with adrenal fatigue, and how plant-based support has helped her heal. And Melissa is a pharmacist who is focused on the prevention of disease and helping women regain their confidence and equilibrium with simple and practical lifestyle adjustments. So Deborah, were you able to, I know you were checking in on your granddaughter. Are you with us?
All is well.
Awesome. Great. So yeah, tell me
Studying for a test, and
what do you want to add, Deborah?
it's such an honor and a privilege to co-host these events, and to have such stellar guests be sharing their stories with you, with us. For each of us, these powdered produce capsules and gummies work in our bodies individually. For me, all of my allergies went away. My anemia went away. That's been 10 years of completely free, free and good health. And I can anticipate another 20 to 30 years of really good health, just based on eating right, simple changes in my movement, and drinking lots of water and getting rest.
That is fantastic, Deborah. I'm always so moved by your story and love the way that this has helped you continue to move forward with what you created when we began this together, this journey together. You're 60 with a 50-year plan blog. And, you are just absolutely rocking that out. So let's dive in with our storytellers. Melody, tell us how you learned about Juice Plus and why Juice Plus made sense for you and your family.
All right, Sony, thank you so much for having me and asking me to share. So we were searching for a whole food vitamin for our daughter when she was a toddler, when she started getting a little bit pickier with vegetables. And my husband's a chiropractor, and so we've always been really passionate about nutrition. But surprisingly, we couldn't really find anything on the market that was whole food. So when I found Juice Plus, I jumped right on it and started buying it for her because it was the only thing I could find that was actually whole food and not synthetic or full of sugar. However, personally, myself, I was kind of on this whole spiral health journey decline since I had her. And I had dealt with already for several years, even by the time that she was 3 or 4, years of hormone imbalance, gut dysbiosis, and I was diagnosed with stage 4 adrenal fatigue just months after she was born. I gained 80 pounds over the first 4.5 years of her life. I would frequently experience blackouts. I was having chronic insomnia, joint pain, brain fog, vertigo. I also suffered from a blood sugar dysregulation from an undiagnosed gestational condition. I suffered from monthly depression and anxiety as from all of my hormones just constantly shifting. To make matters worse, we developed black mold in our home when my daughter was a toddler. What we didn't know then that we now know now is that a lot of the root issues of a lot of this was I had had 5 rounds of antibiotics in the 1 year that I got pregnant and had her. But back then, this was a decade ago, we didn't know much about the microbiome. And I didn't know much about probiotics. It was still very, very new in research. So needless to say, I felt hopeless. I felt abandoned by God. And I spent close to $10,000 over an 8-year period on both Western and alternative healthcare. And at one point I was popping 41 pills a day, all natural. I had broken up with Western medicine, all natural, but I was seriously taking 41 pills a day. So when I found Juice Plus, I refused it. And I bought it for my daughter, but I said, I can't handle one more pill to swallow, was literally my mindset. But then we moved in 2019, and surprisingly, I got pregnant. So I actually was not thrilled about this because considering my postpartum journey was, just still awful. I cried thinking I would never survive. I was exhausted daily by 4 p.m. I'd have to nap before making dinner. And on top of that, my body was now detoxing and cleaning up the black mold it was no longer exposed to. So all of the supplements I was taking was barely like scratching a dent in the surface for how I felt or functioned daily. In fact, looking back, I just wonder how I ever survived that time period. But occasionally I would steal some of my daughter's gummies, Juice Plus gummies. And it took me a while to kind of put the pieces together, but I somehow noticed that on those days I had very consistent energy and didn't need naps. So I then switched to Juice Plus for my prenatal, and my entire pregnancy turned around. I lost 15 pounds throughout, which being pregnant, I was probably the equivalent to about 30. And I had a beautiful home birth with my 10-pound baby boy. And I realized that God protected my baby, even though my body was still waging war on the inside. But then COVID hit the next day, literally, and a series of other struggles, including fighting for my child's life, caused a lot of my health issues to return, and my gut was pretty much a mess. I then found a functional doctor about 2 years ago, and after much more testing, revealed that I was in full-blown menopause at 41. She also found a number of other health issues, of course, that had been brewing as well during that time. But we were both surprised to see how different my postpartum experience was this time compared to the last one, especially since I was now 6 years older. I had consistent energy every day. I never needed naps, even if I was up 5 times a night. My son's a horrible sleeper. He still is a horrible sleeper. Part of that is the health battles. And I have been able to nurse him. I nursed him for 3.5 years. So I was surviving and thriving in a way, even though I was still burdened with all of this stuff on the inside. So working with that doctor, I started using intermittent fasting and carb cycling to help balance my hormones and healing my gut, and continued to stay consistent with my Juice Plus. And after 8 months, I had completely reversed menopause, and my hormones were almost entirely normal for someone of childbearing age, which is pretty unheard of without therapy, by the way. So most of my previous symptoms are now a thing of the past. And I also was able to use the shakes to heal that blood sugar disorder. In fact, I just completed my first 48-hour fast yesterday, and my adrenal fatigue is virtually gone. In fact, I also had my A1C checked last year because I was applying for life insurance, and my A1C, which is your long-term blood sugar, it was so low. And my overall blood work was so healthy that even during my healing process, so this is still while I was healing my gut, I got the lowest rate for a 20-year-old on a life insurance plan. So I looked at my husband and I was like, it must be a Juice Plus. I didn't know what to say. And that was at age 41. So we had a good laugh over that. But one of the things I want to mention is that when I met this doctor in the fall of 2022, she took 2 hours to go over the test results. And she ended up by saying, I can't believe you don't have cancer. And I left crying, thinking, what good is my Juice Plus doing for me when my body is still so burdened and I could have cancer? And that night I woke up at 2:00 in the morning, like wide awake. And I heard the voice of God speak to me loud and clear. And as I listened, he told me, you don't think you have a story, but I'm writing your story right now. You heard cancer, but what she said was, you don't have cancer. Juice Plus has been fighting for you in the invisible places all along, just as I fight for you in the invisible places, and you can't see what's happening behind the scenes. And that's when I knew that God brought Juice Plus into my life at exactly the right moment when I needed it most, to protect my baby in the womb, even while detoxing black mold, and to protect my own cells from further damage until I got the answers I needed to heal. So it's just been such a blessing.
Let me come off of mute. There we go. Wow, Melody. Oh, that is so moving. Man, our hormones are so powerful, aren't they? And just great that, you brought in Juice Plus alongside of all of that work with you that you did with your practitioners. Of course, we're not making any claims here, but this was the experience that you had, and that is incredible. Melissa, tell us a bit about you, and how did you learn about Juice Plus, and why did you decide to get started with it?
Holy moly, next time I go first. No, but I will say, I was just thinking about this while Melody was talking. I've never heard that whole story, but we met in person probably 2 or 3 years ago because of COVID, our Juice Plus conference was virtual. And she was still struggling with some of those health concerns. And it's amazing to hear it and to see it in a friend, to see them get better and feel healthier and just have a different look on life. So I just wanted to add that. But I will just say, so like Sony said, I'm Melissa and I'm a pharmacist. I work at a large multi-center hospital in Pennsylvania. And I became a pharmacist because I enjoy helping people. So what else would I do? And throughout my career, I just really started to see so much sickness and diseases that, we learn along the way can actually be preventable. And, with some lifestyle changes and some good nutrition. And I just, I always felt like I was meant for more, and that I was destined to make a greater impact on the healthcare system. And at the time, throughout my profession, I always felt bored, drained, or uninspired professionally, just like waiting for that something else to come in. Something was waiting for me. And, then an easy button entered my life. And I began to see how, as a pharmacist, I could really help people with the prevention of disease rather than treating them with a mountain of prescription medications. And I love that part about Deborah's story, because if you're not in the healthcare field, you don't realize how amazing that is to be in your 70s and be on no medications. I see patients every day that are on so many medications, I can't figure out how to get rid of them. I can't figure out how to make them less. And I just want to scream, let's just start from the beginning. Can I give you Juice Plus? Can I give you fruits and veggies? Which is always part of our counseling. But so along the way, I realized I had a different way to do this, and I became like freaking fired up, like ready to go. And my sister's on this call tonight, and she is the one who introduced me to Juice Plus. And I knew if she was into it, because she had been introduced from a very health conscious friend, that this was worth giving it a shot. And my husband, who's listening tonight,
And I decided that we were going to try to start a family about 7 or 8 years ago. And this was a really emotional and rough season of our lives, our marriage, our relationship, and how I felt about myself as a woman. Like, I was in my mid-30s, and because of history for both of us, we had to start right away with IVF. So in vitro fertilization. So hormones, injections, all kind of stuff. Now, remember, I'm a pharmacist. I had no idea what medicine I was taking. I had no idea anything about the coverage of the medicine. So I ran out of my benefits ASAP. Note to self, Pennsylvania does not have great fertility benefits. And I was injecting so many shots. I had to get friends to start injecting my arms, and I had to inject my inner thighs because you can only inject so many times on opposite sides of your belly button. And we went through that 3 separate times. The first time, complete failure. The second time, we got an embryo that we could transfer, and that failed. And then the third time, I switched doctors. I switched doctors. I learned about Juice Plus, and I started taking it the right way. And I had a doctor that talked to me about nutrition and wellness and started me on his own supplements and all kind of crazy. I did root vegetable juices, and you can't juice a root vegetable. But we did it anyway, and it was disgusting. Chinese herbs, yoga, acupuncture, everything. But the one thing that really stuck out to me was the Juice Plus. And the downside of our story is that we were never able to conceive, but I knew that Juice Plus was doing something special in our lives because, like Melody said, I had no afternoon fatigue. My skin was clearer, and it had always been clear. My hair now grows too fast that I have to like cover up my roots because it just keeps growing. And this is gray. You can't see it. And I just felt healthier. I have felt energy, and people notice it. I don't drink caffeine anymore unless I choose to. And that's what made me stay. It came into my life for a reason and stayed for a season. And I said that backwards. But I really, really enjoy everything I've learned and all the products I use, including the shakes and the bars. And I have a tower garden in my home, which allows my family to grab dinner off the tower and eat fresh food. I don't even wash it because I don't spray anything on it and there's nothing on it. So thank you.
Come off
Deborah,
of
you're
mute, Deborah.
I unmuted myself and then I got muted again. There you go. Melissa, thank you so much for what you have had to say. And in the face of what you went through in your times of trying to get pregnant, that you had the capacity to get that your Juice Plus journey was an important one. And that you kept moving forward with that for what it's still providing for you. And Melody, I'm so moved by, what you. Okay. I have a 7.5-year-old here. She's very
Rosemary.
She's looking for her home address on the front of the house now. I don't even know why. But I really want to ask, so what had each of you want to be excited about sharing Juice Plus? Melody, what about you?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So what got me excited about sharing Juice Plus? Well, I can tell you that I reached a point where I just looked at my husband one night. I don't really know exactly what happened because other than just like the Holy Spirit opened my eyes, and I just looked at him and I said, why are we keeping this a secret? Why aren't we sharing this with patients as their doctor? And my husband, he's more like a type B, easygoing, passive type of guy. And so he's kind of always follow where I would lead. And so I just said, we start recommending this to patients, because of course he got on it like a month after I did. And now he never gets sick. Like, he's had antibiotics twice his whole life. Once was for getting his wisdom teeth removed. So, and once was right after he moved to Maryland, go figure. But anyway, so I signed up as a partner, and I started sharing it like crazy. And I grew pretty quickly on the customer track, but I never had any intention of building a team, because my thing was, I want to share with those patients. I wasn't planning on sharing with friends, it wasn't really on my radar. It just was something like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And it's just we're going to get rid of our entire supplement line at the office and just share it with patients. But God obviously had other plans, because now, just 2 years later, I've got 6 team members. And I would say that each day, like, God's just bringing more and more people into my life, that this business could be a blessing for their lives. And this is a new journey for me this year. So first, I took my son out of daycare after working with my husband for 12 years. So about a year ago, I took him out of daycare, and I was like, okay, feel like I need to grow 8 arms. And then God told me to homeschool. And I'm like, what? I can't do that. So now we're homeschooling. And so my heart and mission is really for those moms that just want to reclaim that time with their kids and want to be moms. But, we live in a society where a dual income is almost necessary. And, I lost a lot of those years for my daughter that I can't ever get back. So homeschooling is a way for me to reclaim that time with my now 9-year-old, instead of just trading my time for a paycheck. And Juice Plus gives me that freedom to work from anywhere and to do that. And as I've gone through this, sometimes I say, like, God, is this really what you want me to do? Am I going to have too much on my plate trying to, place orders and support customers and build team and this and that? But we got this book out of the library called One Chicken Nugget. I don't know if anyone's ever read it, but it talks about the law of exponential growth. And it's funny, I've been studying the Gospels at this time, and I'm reading this silly little book called One Chicken Nugget, which you got to read that book after this call. Okay, everybody go to the library and get that book. But it basically identifies the law of exponential growth. And the Lord just put it on my heart that Jesus really created this law, and this is how the gospel spread. Because in his very short ministry time, which was only about 3 years, there's so few examples of when he was actually preaching publicly to thousands of people. And most of his miracles were done in private or among small groups of people. And yet somehow he was pretty confident that he would become the most influential person that ever existed. And so he chose these 12 men, and he sent them out on something called the Great Commission to preach the gospel, which means good news about himself to the world. And since he was God incarnate, as I believe, he had no doubt, because he created math and he created the law of exponential growth, that these 12 men would accomplish that task quite well. So really what we're doing with this Juice Plus business model was already done 2,000 years ago, and he invented it. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. But the thing that really separates the Juice Plus business for me from anything else I've ever done is the community. And I remember Melissa talking about this in the very beginning, and I was so new. I was like, community. But I will tell you that, when you get 15 to 20 people to show up to hear your testimony, and they're like, yes, I'll support you. And then they're coming to your house to make energy bites or salad in a jar. And those conversations, that's what this life is all about. Like, we're meant to be together. And without Juice Plus, I'd be sitting alone in my house, not knowing my neighbors, right? But with Juice Plus, I get to know my neighbors and everybody in every circle, So it's forced me to get bolder with sharing my faith. And honestly, I feel like I've become a better disciple. I've become a better Christian because of it, because through all of the coaching and this amazing leadership in the community, I've had to face a lot of my fears of rejection. I've had to put my vulnerable self out there on things like this. And I've had to reframe my mindset. And so it's made me more confident. And so now I can barely even see the difference. I can see the law of exponential growth happening in my business. And I'm like, wow, God, this is you're multiplying. You're literally multiplying blessings for people. And I can also now barely decipher between sharing Juice Plus and sharing Jesus, because it's like, oh, here, let me get you a cart started, and do you want to come to Bible study? So, and I will tell you that 2 years ago, I never would have done that. Never. So, I mean, I can't see a better reason to do this business, honestly.
Wow, fantastic. Just, it's the authenticity that brings, right? I'm just hearing how aligned this is for you with what's important to you in your life, and that you're able to get to, that community is incredible. And through that, that's just it, right? You're able to build that team. It just shows up, and you're able to reach more people. So wonderful. And Melissa, how about you? What's got you fired up about sharing Juice Plus with others?
So yeah, I'm going to start with community and go back to it, because that's really what hooked me in. I was a customer for several years, and we have a joke in the Juice Plus business that you need to ask somebody several times. And that person was my sister. And I said, stop calling me. Just please stop bothering me. And then one day I was like, okay, I could use a new pair of shoes. So sure. But but I just loved the community, and some of the things we did and some of the things they taught me were, drink more water, go to bed on time, move, exercise. Doesn't matter if you're taking the stairs, safer products, and eating real food. I have never eaten in my life the way I do now. We grew up healthy. We had a sit-down dinner, and always had vegetables, and we eat so much better. And I started doing all these things with my Juice Plus, having results. And like Melody said, it just became natural to share it. Like if you read a good book or watch, a show on Netflix, you share it. So it's just like that. And I started to see how real food with fruits and vegetables could be so good for us that they could literally save our lives. And it just all started to connect the dots with being a pharmacist, preventing disease. And we have over 40 research studies, and that really solidified it and gave me the confidence to share this product. This is not a vitamin with isolated nutrients. This is food with tens of thousands of phytonutrients. Like you wouldn't believe how many essential good phytonutrients, so plant nutrients, so plant food that it's feeding us, are in an apple. And we're giving you 30 fruits and vegetables every day. And it's wild. And, I saw a hope. And, it's funny. The ladies invited us onto this talk, and I went through my story, because we kind of jot them down and share it and, journal about our stories. And I had hope in my story. And I was like, wow, okay. I didn't even know that was in there. And I saw it as a beacon of hope for my future, of what I could take my pharmacist career from and where I can bring it to, and how I can change the future and maybe continue to share and with other people and continue to inspire others. And I never understood in the beginning how important it was to share with other people. But as Melody said, as her team and her community started to grow, if I help 5 people, then they help 5 people, then they help 5 people. I just exponentially helped people without even doing it myself. And that's just amazing. And this community, being in my 40s, I finally feel like I belong somewhere. I mean, we're talking through high school, sports, college, fraternities, new friends when you start a job right out of college. And I met these people, during COVID, and they really lit up my time in, oh my gosh, quarantine. I couldn't think of, we don't want to say that word anymore. And just really were there for me, and so loving, so caring, all different walks of lives, and just ready for you, to help out, to lend advice, a recipe, an exercise. And we all have different journeys. We're all in different parts of our health journey. And this community does not care where you are. We're here to listen and understand and educate you and get you started wherever you are. I think that's it. I'm just over the moon. I just love sharing it, and I appreciate everybody and all the friendships I've made along the way, and the coaching and the mentors. It's just beyond amazing.
Absolutely fantastic. Yes. I can't say enough, as you ladies already have, about the community and the connections. And, you know, it truly is come as you are. There's no judgment of, you know, where you're at on your journey, what your socioeconomic background is. Like, it just truly, come on in, let's do whatever, you know, we're working on together. Maybe we're doing salads in a jar or soup in a jar because it's wintertime, or lots of people are baking sourdough, and, you know, just all the different other activities and the great value that we bring from us all coming together. And I so get what you're saying, Melissa, that, you know, you found where you belong. And, you know, again, Melody, how it's just allowed you to fully find your self-expression and build your voice in what's important to you. So just thank you both for joining us. Deborah, thank you for co-hosting with me. And most importantly, thank you all, our guests, for taking time out of your busy day and tuning in with us. Remember, there's over 45 peer-reviewed research studies that are supporting these stories of hope we heard tonight. Please invite those you love and care about to come back for our next session. We do this on the first Tuesday of each month. So we'll be back March 5th at 7 o'clock. Same link, same Zoom info. You've already got all of that. We'll also send out reminders to you. And if you've not gotten started on Juice Plus yet, please get back to the person who invited you. They invited you because they truly love and care about you, and they want you to have this hope and this kind of powerful impact in your life. And I know they would love to help you get started. So if you have questions, I'm going to stop the recording. If anyone has burning questions that they would like to ask, we'll take those here in a moment.